Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. I just want to welcome you to Moments with Inonge, a platform that is dedicated to raising leaders that will impact the world positively. Guys, you're tuned in, and this message is meant for you. Yes, it is meant for you. So please do stay tuned and be transformed. I quickly want to share about the waiting room experience. The waiting room experience. Have you ever felt forgotten? Trust me, it is not a good feeling at all. If you have felt forgotten, please do share in the comment section. Imagine you've been called for an interview and you reach the company where you're going to be interviewed, and the receptionist ushers you to a waiting room. As you take your seat in the waiting room, she goes out, shuts the door, and doesn't come back at all. Sometimes, guys, that happens to us in life. There are times that you may receive a prophecy saying, you know what, you are great. You're going to be great. You're going to have lots of money. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. There are times that you discover your gift, you discover your talent, you discover your calling. There are times that you receive this vision for a business and you actually get into it, but it does not turn out the way you expected. During that time is what I call the waiting experience. If we would refer to the Bible, we would actually call it the wilderness experience, but I choose to call it the waiting room experience. These things happen, guys. You've discovered your calling, you've discovered your talent, you've discovered your gift, and you just want to run with it. You put in so much, you dedicate yourself to actually using your gift, using your talent, using your calling, but then the results are not as expected. This does happen, and it happens to a lot of us. Now, the waiting room experience is hard and dangerous. I say it is hard because if you have been put on hold on a call, I mean, the music is terrible, the music is just awful, and then time is wasted. I say the waiting room experience is actually dangerous because of what you do and what you do not do. A lot are going through the waiting room experience. This is why it has been laid in my heart for me to just share this message with you. This is your message. Watch till the end. While you're in the waiting room, there are a lot of things that can happen. There are a lot of paths that you can take. So I just want to talk about three paths that are available when you're in the waiting room. Path number one, waiting passively. Sometimes life happens, results, are not as expected. What do? You can be in the waiting room and decide to wait passively. You can be in the waiting room and just decide to pick up your phone and just be browsing through social media, just be on Instagram, just be on Facebook, just be on YouTube, just admiring other people's lives, forgetting that the pictures that people post on their social media platforms are pictures where they're doing fine. And because you're in the waiting room, you're undergoing the waiting room experience, you begin to feel bad. You begin to feel like life is not moving for you. You begin to get discouraged. The waiting experience, guys, the waiting room experience, it is real. And as we are going through the waiting room experience of our lives, we may tend to be passive. This is a time when you're just there busy playing video games. You're not doing anything at all. The second path that you may take while you're in the waiting room is waiting recklessly. This is a path where one just says, for instance, I have grown. You know what? I'm just going to settle with this person. Nobody is perfect. Waiting recklessly, it actually endangers our lives and it leaves so many deep scars. Waiting recklessly, it does so much harm to us. It's that point where, for instance, you had put water on a stove and it begins to boil. And because it begins to boil, it begins to spill over. That's the waiting recklessly experience while you're in the waiting room. This is something that we need to avoid by all means, because the effects of waiting recklessly are really bad. And then there is a path number three, while you are in the waiting room, waiting actively. You see, guys, there are times, like I said, you discover your calling, you discover your talent, you discover your gift. You even start to do things in relation with your discovery. But the results you are getting are just not the results you expected. I mean, you were given this prophecy that you're going to be great as you do this business, and you start that business, and you're not having sales in the way you expected. You're not having profit the way you expected. That means you're in your waiting room experience. So, what do you do when you're in the waiting room? My advice to you is wait actively. When you start to work on your gift, when you start to work on your talent, when you start to work on your calling, when you get into a business, before you can actually get to the point where you are reaping, massive bumper harvests from your business, wait actively. What I mean by waiting actively is prepare yourself. Do something in relation to where you're going. For instance, as believers, we receive prophecy to say, oh, okay, you're going to be great doing this, doing that. So now you discover your calling. For instance, if your calling is singing and you sing one song, it doesn't hit, you sing another one, it doesn't go viral, and you decide to give up. I'm here to encourage somebody that is in the waiting room experience to say, wait actively. The example I just gave, if you've got the gift of singing, don't stop practicing. Don't stop practicing, because you never know when the end to the waiting room experience actually comes. Be active. Be active. It doesn't matter what field you are in. Be active. Be proactive. Do something. Don't sit passively. Don't sit passively waiting for the time to be right. The time will never be right. Um, there's a quote that actually says, the teacher comes to a student that is actually ready. So if you've discovered your gift, discovered your talent, you've received that prophecy, you've got a calling, you've started a business, please, while you're going through the waiting room experience, while you're going through a wilderness kind of experience, while that business is not yet making profits, please don't stop. Continue, practice, improve yourself, learn skills, learn from others, be teachable. There's a mentor that mentors me. In one of the sermons of Cosa Global, he actually said something. He said, if you belong to this church and you do not work and you just stay home, then I don't think you really belong to this church. Because if you belong to this church and they haven't employed you, I expect you to go out there and volunteer. But how many people would actually volunteer? How many people would do a volunteering job? So volunteering is actually part of waiting actively, because what is happening is while you're volunteering, you're getting experience. So if a time comes when there's an opening for that job, for your dream job, at least you can go with something and say, I have experience. That's what we call waiting actively. Guys, life does happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen according to our expectations. Sometimes it doesn't happen according to the speed at which we want. So if you're going through that experience, please do wait actively. Prepare yourself for the moment that is going to be glorious for you. If you're running a business and it's not yet profitable, this is the time to even dedicate more time. This is the time for you to know how to balance your books. This is the time for you to know how to manage your workers. This is the time for you to know when to order, when not to order, when to have a sale, when not to have a sale. Don't be discouraged if you're in your waiting room experience. Don't be discouraged. Put yourself to work, get busy, because you never know when your wilderness season ends. You never know when you're called out of that waiting room to now come and showcase what you're doing. But if you were passive, if you were reckless, what is it that you're going to showcase? If you're in your waiting room experience, guys, please get skilled, be teachable, and just prepare yourself for that moment to shine. That is what I had to share with you guys, um, based on the waiting room experience. And just to add, a little bit of emphasis on this, I found a scripture in the book of Isaiah 49 and verse 3. And it reads, He said to me, You are my servant Israel, and you will bring glory. I replied, But my work seems so useless. I have spent my strength for nothing and to no purpose. Yet I leave it all in the Lord's hands. I will trust God for my reward. Sometimes, guys, you're doing this business, profits are not coming, and you feel your work is useless, not knowing that a big deal is on its way. Sometimes you've got this calling, you've got this talent, and you're using it and you're not going viral, things are just not happening, you know. The income is not yet flowing concerning your gift, concerning your talent. Please, guys, don't think your work is useless. You see, God has deposited something great in you. He's deposited something really great and big in you. And at the end of it all, um, you're going to stand and give an account for what you did with what God deposited in you when you were coming to the first of the earth. So even if men and women do not acknowledge your gift, even if they don't acknowledge your calling, just like it says in verse 4, the Lord is your reward. Trust in God for your reward. If you've got a gift and a calling, I'm going to keep on saying this time without number, and you are using it, but people are not acknowledging it. Remember that you have been sent to serve the people, but your reward will not come from the people. It's coming from God. It's God that has given you an assignment to the people. Don't get it twisted. Just keep on doing what you're doing. And then verse 5 says, and now the Lord speaks, the one who formed me in my mother's womb to be his servant, who commissioned me to bring Israel back to him. The Lord has honored me, and my God has given me strength. He says, You will do more than restore the people of Israel to me. I will make you a light to the Gentiles, and you will bring salvation to the ends of the earth. You see, for you, like it says in verse 4, you may be feeling as if your work is useless. You may be feeling as if the effort that you're putting in to better yourself is useless. But God is actually counting it, He's marking it, and He's saying you're doing well. And because I actually gave you an assignment just to do this little, I think, no, 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 no. I'm going to increase your assignment because you're doing so well. Guys, whatever your hands find to do, Do it with all your might. Do it with all your might. Don't be reluctant. Whenever you're going through a wilderness kind of experience, don't be passive. Don't just be on your phone doing nothing. If you're on social media, get onto pages, get onto channels, get onto platforms that will help you improve personally. I really salute you guys because you're on Moments with Inonge, and I appreciate you because you're the caliber of people that actually want to improve themselves. So I salute you 100%. I just want to remind you once again to say, please don't feel that your work is useless if you haven't yet begun to see the harvest. In time, you will see it. In time, you will definitely see it. At this point, guys, this message that I've just shared with you, the waiting room experience, is one of the messages that I've actually shared at the Global Power Christian Leadership Training Conference here in the United States of America. And I just say to myself, you know what? The community of Moments with Inonge has to hear this message because there must be one or two people out there that are actually going through the waiting room experience. So I just want to use this opportunity to thank the hosts, the people that have actually come up with the Global Power Christian Leadership Training Conference in New Jersey, United States of America, for this privilege to actually come and be a blessing unto them, just to come and speak out. I will be sharing some clips, some photos of when I was doing my talking, but I just made this video specifically for you guys because I know you needed to hear this. And from now on, I do believe and I do trust that you're going to wait actively. You will not wait passively, or you will not wait recklessly while you're in the waiting room experience. To everybody on Moments with Inonge, I do love you. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tagging others. And thank you for following on all my platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on TikTok. I just want to say a big thank you unto you. From me, it's good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you're watching from. I love you lots, guys. Stay blessed.